going on, everybody? It's your boy Murray Sachs, and welcome back to another fire video. Now today we're going to be talking about chapter 322 of My Hero Academia's manga. A lot of fun stuff happens. We're going to talk about much like how Midoriya is now back in UA. We're going to talk about, him, Ochaco, Iida, Kirishima, everybody involved in the chapter. Hope you guys enjoy. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe for more content. And yeah, let's get back into this. We start from where we left off in the last chapter, where Iida finally grabs Deku's hand. Deku is trying to desperately break free and Iida is not letting go. Deku has no power left, and at that moment Ochaco released her quirk, so both of them were free falling from the sky. Luckily Kirishima was there to catch both. Okay, so at the beginning of the chapter, I really like this part between Iida and Deku because a lot of that friendship we see how much Iida has gotten to him and how strong that bond was with him and Deku. That pretty much gets him to surrender, pretty much. Now me personally, I really like this between Iida and Deku, the fact that Deku has no more power left. Because I was kind of wondering where the story was going. Is Deku just going to be fighting his classmates? It's going to be one big battle? Or is it just them trying to convince his mind, And Iida's really the instigator in the sense of trying to get Deku to change his mind to come back to UA. Because we'll see later in the chapter with him and Bakugo, Bakugo has confessions to make, but yeah. I really like this part, and I like the fact that Deku has no more power left because now he's forced to listen. Because we know, even though he has good intentions, the fact that he's so stubborn in the way that he wants to save the world per se, it's not a very efficient strategy at all. He needs people, as I said in the last chapter review. Yeah, so I really like this part. We get this cool animation thing. I can't wait to see this part animated, hopefully season 6. And then right at that moment, Ochaco's releasing her quirk. It makes it a little bit more dramatic. Moving on from that point, Kirishima catches both Deku and Iida as they're falling from the sky, and Ochaco released her quirk at the time. So yeah, he's just catching both of them as it was Endeavor's order. Kirishima then asked Deku about a kid who rushed to save his friend from a villain and asked if it was him, which it was. And this is just a road down memory lane, just like the last two chapters where we're just recovering all of Midoriya's heroic moments that try to remind him where he was being selfless as a hero, but also he needs his friends to get to him. I really like this part because it's it takes the source material where every single problem stemmed from, which is where Bakugo got captured by the sludge villain in the first episode, or the first chapter or whatever, and that's how Midoriya was qualified to become the 9th user of One For All, and that's where everything just changed for him at that point. It's a nice little reminder of how lucky Midoriya is, in the sense he All Might discovered this guy right on time. It's gonna be really emotional. I'd imagine this scene to be a lot like All Might and All For One back in Camino Ward in season 3, where the music was playing when Gran Torino was motivating All Might to push past his limits. Okay, so after Kirishima catches them and they have that whole glimpse of a talk, Mina and Koda, who's the other person who was with Endeavor, she comes there and then she's yo, let's just get everybody back to UA. Let's just be one normal class again. Let's just be together. Let's just be, let's just be friends again, And Midoriya is really just talking about how he can't really come back because he would be putting all these people at risk, blah blah blah. It's the same old thing with Deku. Deku still doesn't want to come back to UA because he is still in the mindset of hurting too many people if he were to come back. He doesn't want to cause them any more trouble and is too dangerous because of all the people at UA and how Shigaraki is targeting. Because if his presence alone is just going to draw the villains closer to civilians, just draw them as a threat. It's just he's just putting too many people at risk, and he doesn't want to live with that on his conscience. And now for the good part, we get to Bakugo. Bakugo then asks Deku if he remembers what he said to Deku after Shigaraki had impaled him. And he starts making all these like confessions of like how he tried to like look down on him at first. So Bakugo then like goes into like this whole thing about like how he thought Deku was quirkless, so he's like a loser, like when they were first kids and Bakugo just found like his explosion quirk. It was always like behind him, and like the fact that like Deku was so persistent in like just like trying to be a hero even though he had no quirk, it was like useless to him. It always annoyed Bakugo in that sense. It almost put like a chip on his shoulders because like for some reason he would always think that Deku was ahead of him for whatever reason. He admits to Deku that he hated it, and then Bakugo admits he like almost always lost. Now, I wouldn't say he almost always lost. There was always some lesson to be learned from it. This confession from Bakugo makes me think that like he's really grown and like he's leveled up in my opinion, because now his change in mindset has come to a point where like he's able to like work with other heroes and get along with the person who he has never been able to get along with, being Midoriya. So I really like this from Bakugo. It also shows kind of like how Deku has really influenced Bakugo into like how Bakugo's character development like towards like this whole story. Deku was always be like miles ahead. Even when he didn't have a quirk, it was really more of like his personality or like just like his motivation in like saving people. Bakugo has really kind of like took on that role of, you know, being Deku's like co-star, or not even like co-hero, like whatever, like colleague, whatever you want to say, like when they're on the same level. I like it. Bakugo has, even though I always love when like I saw this one video of like Bakugo has no chill, you know, like I love that Bakugo, but this Bakugo is showing maturity. Is showing a lot of like the personality traits that you develop as you get older, and that they're in high school, they're 15, 16 years old. You know, I really like this. It makes it more relatable for me. Then Bakugo regrets over like the fact that nothing went as I planned it would go, and this and that. He's kind of like, he said it was really just pointless trying to like surpass Deku instead of trying to become one with Deku. You know what I'm saying? So that I feel like maybe he feels like he's wasted a lot of time on that when it wasn't really necessary. If you were to be one with it, it's better than just trying to surpass it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like Tsubasa in like that Beyblade Metal series where he has like that dark power or whatever it's called, and Ryuga tells him to like, you can't surpass it, you can't defeat it, you have to become one with it. This is what that kind of reminds me of. I don't know, like I don't know why I brought that up, like Beyblade was so long ago, but yeah, like that just like, for some reason that just reminded me of that. You know, it's cool. We get to when Bakugo finally calls Deku by his like real name, Izuku. And then Bakugo pretty much like apologizes for like for everything he's done in the past that has hurt Deku, or he has had the motivation to hurt Deku in a way, even though it really hasn't. It's really more like bonded them together. And then he apologizes. There's like a panel of like, there's a panel like in the chapter of like just like the whole class, and then just them two standing in the middle of like this whole like this crowd of like all their classmates, and Bakugo is just like head down, just bows down to Deku just for forgiveness pretty much. He tells Deku that like he can only go like so far as to like surpass the #1 hero based on his ideals alone. His ideals have to be like, he needs help. He needs people to do certain things for him so he can be the hero that he needs to be in order to be all for one and to beat Shigaraki. Deku is just like, he's just gassed at this point. And then he faints, and then Bakugo like catches him like when they're like on the ground. But I really want to get to the part where like Bakugo, like he says that don't even think about doing this on your own. When like Bakugo was like impaled, his body moved before he could even think of anything. That was just like natural instinct. And Bakugo sacrificed his body. He was willing to sacrifice his body just to tell him those words. It wasn't even about like saving Deku's life. It was more about like changing Deku's approach to like saving people and being a hero, like the hero lifestyle. And I think now more than ever, this solidifies Bakugo as like a changed hero. He's a true hero now. Now we actually understand, because Bakugo knew this from the start. He knew that All Might was going to be Deku's mentor, and how All Might did things, that's the same way Deku's going to be if Bakugo wasn't there to like help him, you know, or like make him like be like Earth to Deku. This is how you're supposed to do things. You can't just do everything on your own. So like that really makes that moment in like 285 when he got impaled that much more special. It really says a lot about Bakugo, and he's evolved. He's definitely going to be a number 2 hero behind Deku. If that hero ratings or whatever exists at this point, I don't even know. Because civilians are just like, it's like an anarchy going on. So we get to the whole part where like there's like a panel of like all like the important students, like main students in like the class, like Shoto Todoroki. And then we see like a little zoomed in panel of like Ochaco, where like she's responding to like Yaoyorosu's comment about, where she like comments about like how this is like the first hurdle of like, or like the first like small step towards like bettering hero society. And then there's this level of determination on Uraraka's face after she thinks what she thinks at the end of the chapter, and she's thinking about saving all the heroes who need saving. We don't know what she's really thinking at this point. Like I don't know what she's wanting to think. The whole romance between her and Deku is like a whole thing. We'll talk about her later because there is something significant that happens at the end of the chapter. It's like kind of noteworthy. So we pretty much cut to you know, Kendo giving us like a synopsis of like what's going on in Hero Society, like all these villains, anti-hero, vigilante, they're like pretty much roaming the streets now. All the civilians are moving towards like their respective evacuation centers. And like the UA evacuation center looks like a huge castle or something from like medieval times. Like, I don't know. It's like a giant iron wall, like fortress. It looks like something you would find on Alcatraz for all I know. Like, it looks huge. And apparently it's only like a small thing of like what it can normally do. It looks like it's designed to withstand a missile hit. You know, like one of those capsules like in Lab Rats or whatever. Yeah, that's what that looks like. And it connects with Shiketsu High. I want to talk about this because I've been wanting like a whole Shiketsu UA type of alliance, and hopefully that would work. Like, I kind of want that, and if that could happen, it would be nice. I'd like to get the wind guy. I forgot his name, but like the guy that was with Shoto and Bakugo when they were trying to get their hero licenses for those extra makeup classes. I want to see Kami, that girl. I want to see the beast dude, like with all the fur or whatever, like that turns into like a real beast or whatever. I want to see all those guys back, man, because they got some really cool quirks I want to see in battle. You know, if we can get that. Or Koshi, I'm looking at you, man. I know you're watching this video. Make sure we get that, alright? We want to see a Shiketsu UA alliance in a war arc, something like that, you know what I'm saying? Would be cool. So Deku finally wakes up. All these civilians are there, and they don't really want him to get in. And it's kind of weird because the class wants Deku to be there. Like Class 1A, they want him to be back in UA, and all these civilians are here, just being like, "Why are you bringing him here? Why do you want him here?" Because like Shigaraki is targeting Deku, and they don't really want to be in the like caught in the crossfire, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, that's what that is. Like at this point, just give like Nezu. Like I agree with Nezu what he says here. He said that like we'll figure out a way to like just deal with it. Like they've assured the civilian safety. However, something's gonna happen. Something is going to happen. Because something always happens when like Nezu is like trying to like further like their security with all these ongoing villains and stuff. That's where like all this stuff is like headed towards. I don't know what to make of it. Maybe there's like a whole like attack on UA that the villains are planning that's gonna like go even through this Iron Wall fortress. They can definitely destroy it. I'm sure they can destroy it. Because I know Gigantomachia is not there, but like Shigaraki can touch anything and like touch the ground and it can decay. Really nothing you can do. Even if you have a giant Iron Wall fortress like that, there's really nothing you can do against Shigaraki when he's like plus ultra decay like he was in the war arc. Okay, so then we cut to Ochaco. She tells Deku, like, for reassurance, just don't worry about it. You know, like, we want you here. Don't care about what they have to say. Because in the long run, we know that, like, they're gonna be safe just because we got you back here. She goes on about, like, how, like, all her classmates made this possible. Iida, Bakugo, all that. Because when the heroes need help, who's gonna save them, pretty much? What's gonna happen to the heroes when they need saving? Now let's talk about Ochaco's, like, character development. She hasn't been involved in this arc as much as I thought she would be. Yeah, I'm like low-key disappointed. Like, I know she had the whole encounter with Toga. I know those two are gonna have like a final showdown, just like I know Shigaraki and Deku and All For One, they're gonna have their showdown. Shoto, Todoroki, and Dabi, they're gonna have their showdown. I know that for sure. Bakugo somewhere in the mix. Ochaco is like the main romance. Her and Deku, they're the main romance in like this whole story. It would be nice to see her get some like screen time, like in terms of like her like trying to fight Toga, and like emotionally, Uraraka's feelings for Deku have to have like some sort of like motivation for her to go crazy in battle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like the fact that like it's just been like just rescue. I want to see her like actually solidify her feelings in a very emphatic way. That way it could be on the battlefield. It could be like, you know, it could be like on the battlefield. It can be like just like a moment like Bakugo did with like Shigaraki impaling him, or yeah, Shigaraki impaling Bakugo like back in chapter 285, I believe. And it could be something like that. We had Shoto's moment, like not his biggest moment, like we saw Endeavor, like when Dabi announced that he's Toya Todoroki, like something like that. Like I want something like that for Ochaco because it doesn't feel right for me. Like I know Bakugo is like more important to the story than she is. Shoto to a lesser degree is also like, and some of the other characters are, but like she's also the main romance, so I figured like she would be at least in that class of characters where like they get like the screen time for like one defining moment, and she hasn't gotten it so far in my opinion. You know, like, so I hope Horikoshi's working something up. Maybe it'll be like on the battlefield with Toga, where like Shigaraki got something, like got Deku pinned to a corner or something like that, like he got it, like Deku's like trapped with Shigaraki and Toga goes in for the kill, and then Uraraka like does something to like save her, you know, or something like that. Like I want to see something like that from like this character, and hopefully we get it. You know? I feel like we got that with Iida like in the last chapter, and like in a way that like relates to the romance between these two characters. So like there's still time for sure. I hope this isn't the last arc. But maybe it is, who knows, but, you know. But I like where the story's headed now. I don't know where it's headed, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's, like, so many possibilities you can go at the end of this chapter. Are they going to, like, reorganize for a way to, like, destroy, like, All For One, Shigaraki, and all these people? Is it going to be, like, Bakugo, like, confessing more, maybe? I don't know. Like, I think he confessed as much as he should have. I really have no idea where this chapter is headed towards. Yeah, that's all I got to say. So my main three takeaways are that Bakugo has leveled up, right? Bakugo has leveled up for sure. Ochaco and her character development, I want to see that headed in a direction that's like important towards like the main plot of the story, but also helps build up that like romance between the two, her and Deku. And my third takeaway is that like I hope that like we get like a really good, like I hope this chapter is headed in a very good direction. I think it is. Maybe it's like a hype chapter. The next chapter is like a hype to like reintroduce all the villains again, and then they meet with all these people, and we get like this alliance from Shiketsu, or maybe we get like the whole international heroes coming over. We got that in like 306 or 7, something like that. hopefully we can get one of those guys, and have them help, maybe Captain Celebrity, I don't know. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and yeah, man, peace out, man.